Right, welcome everyone. I believe this is live. I'm just double checking here on the tablet before we get started, so I can see the questions and such. Any day now, it's going to update. I think it's live. It just hasn't shown me yet that it is. Okay. There we go. Double check, make sure we can hear music. I think it's live. Yeah. Not back all the way down. Alright. For those watching later, welcome. I'm going to be painting some infantry here for Revelations Battalion. I believe this is slightly out of focus. Oh, you're not going to let me get in focus, huh? Well, that'll be fun. I've got conscripts here, and I've got Republic Marines. They both look very dark right now. And that's in part because my airbrush just had problems. So I was trying to have everything airbrushed. Yes. Hey, Remy. Yes, it is always hard to tell when it is live. Because there's such a delay that it's very frustrating. So I think what I'm going to do, because my airbrush is being touchy, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the conscripts. And we're going to try to hand prime, which I have not done in a very long time. Hand prime these Marines. And I need to grab my other infantry 1 second. So what I'm trying to do is get infantry painted up for the Core Republic and the Faust Union, because those are going to be the two factions I'm going to use in the how to play videos for Battlefield. So I had to go grab other Marines and conscripts I've painted just to take a look at what I did. So I'm pretty sure conscripts were super straightforward and easy because I was kind of under a time crunch. It looks like I did the same thing with the Marines because they're so small. All I did was paint the rifles and possibly their visor. And then just put a wash on them and they were done. These guys are just going to need a red. The wash. I think I probably did the wash first. Then the red. Then the rifles. And I called it a day. So they're not going to be really super hard to do. But with my airbrush being funky, I was just running around trying to take care of it, and it didn't want to cooperate. So we're gonna try doing this. So I need to mix up some the base color that I use for the Core Republic for my forces. I use Vallejo Ochre Brown. I had to end up dumping the stuff I had before because I have these little glass jars and they work really well for keeping the paint, like, you know, keeping in the moisture so that the paint doesn't dry out. But it apparently still kind of separates and a layer of it becomes harder. Like, you know, it gets kind of, not crusty, but it kind of coagulates. Which would be fine when we're painting because we could see where those spots are and we could brush those off. When I was using my airbrush, it kept clogging it and it would slightly sputter and it would shoot out little specks. So I was like, well, I took it apart, cleaned it, put it back together, did the same thing. So I figured out it was the ochre brown. Even though it looked good, it wasn't. So now I'm going to have a different process going forward of how I'm going to handle all that. So I'm not going to make as much as maybe I normally would, so that I don't make too much. So if you can kind of see, I don't know how many that was, 15 drops. I kind of do almost, depending on the paint, I almost do like a 1-for-1, and you kind of just feel it out to try to get the paint to be thin enough. And then I'll use like the side of it to kind of, and what I'm looking for, what I found that I look for, is when I'm kind of putting it on the side, you can notice there's a little bit of pooling right before it drops. And it doesn't just shoot down like a super thin ink would or like water would. There's a little bit, just a fraction of hesitancy before the paint tries to go down to the bottom of the pot. And that's usually about the thickness that I'm shooting for, I guess we'll use this regiment brush. That's usually the consistency I'm looking for. Now, if I was going into the airbrush, I thin it down even further. But I got this one lone guy here all by himself. I had these sticks that I've had in, they're like balsa wood sticks that I've had in my closet for quite a while. And I was like, well, you know what? Let's use them. I just broke them down, put the infantry on, off I went. Now, what I was hoping for was that I was going to use my airbrush, like I said, which would make this a little bit easier. So I know it's going to require more than one coat, but we'll get them all started and then move on to the next thing while they all dry. And this was not the way I wanted to do this, but I need to do those videos. Because we got the Kickstarter campaign coming up rapidly. When am I looking to be testing it? In, do you mean like beta testing? Because that's already live for people to do. I've already done some of my own testing, of course, before I put it out. I need to put more stats up, and that's... what I'm hoping for is that I can update the rule book tomorrow. To get that out for everyone to have the next edition of it, which is just not updating a couple of smaller things, then adding in like a table of contents. Trying to get it ready for the campaign the rest of the way. Oh, the videos. I am looking to have the videos... I purchased some additional equipment that should be here tomorrow, and what I'm hoping with that will be that I can do overhead shots again, but these ones will be better. I needed to buy a couple of things to be able to do that, so I just did that yesterday, and it should be here tomorrow. I'm hoping to be able to do that on like Thursday and Friday. So maybe the videos will start appearing on Monday, maybe Sunday. We're kind of... so the last time I did the Kickstarter campaign, the last one, when I went to ask, because you have to ask Kickstarter to approve your campaign, so you have to kind of like submit it for review. And when I did that last time, it was instantaneous. And I was like, oh, okay, so they must be using AI now to do that. So I submitted it yesterday, and it is still in review. And it can take up to 72 hours to be approved. And I was like, well, it's a good thing I did it a few days early, so that there's time for them to approve it. But if they kick it back and say, hey, you need to fix this, you need to do that. So there is a possibility that I might not be able to start the Kickstarter next week, which is unfortunate. But so I'm doing everything that I can to make it happen. Spent a couple hours yesterday on the page while it was in review to do some other fixes to it. So everyone will be made aware as it moves forward. So it's coming either way. It's just... We'll see how fast Kickstarter gives me the green light, or they tell me, hey, you got to fix this. I haven't ever had one get kicked back, I don't think, but I'm always just like, but they could, because they could. So it always makes me like, maybe they will this time. Yeah, so like I was saying, the last one they approved so quick, and then this one they didn't, and I was surprised because the other one was literally as fast as I updated and refreshed the page, it was done. And like there is no way a person viewed that entire campaign page and said, yeah, this is all good. There's nothing fraudulent. There's nothing dangerous. There's nothing adult or, anything that we need to be, needs to be changed the way that it's worded or whatever. Because Kickstarter really doesn't care what you do. At the end of the day, they really don't care what your project is, anything. They just want to make their money. Obviously, if it looks like it's, 100% a scam, but they don't really care what your project is about. I imagine there's probably some things in terms of like hate crime stuff that they or hate speech that they want to be like, yeah, we don't want that on our platform, which is understandable why they would steer away from that. This really slows down the process, because if this was already primed, then I'd just be moving right into doing the wash right now. At least I was able to do the primary, or the priming. Uh-oh. Well, the Discord is still on. To turn it off, otherwise it's going to keep booping in everybody's ears. Huh. Let me turn it off real quick. There we go. Make me only a little nervous that I might accidentally close the wrong program. So how are you doing today, Remy? No, I've had them take a little bit longer to review previous campaigns. I had just figured that they were using AI because the last one was so fast to be approved. It normally does take like 48 hours. But we shall see. Sick kids. That's no fun. We were just doing that last week. My wife still has a cough from that. Extra paint in here. I need to get that out. I don't know why I put so much there. I just make myself suffer. These are not the way I want them. Hey. Doesn't even really look like I've done a whole lot to him yet. Let's go back and do a second coat on this other guy to see if this is helping. Maybe I need to add more paint to this. No, this is looking about where it needs to be. I think I'm gonna add a little bit. Might be a little too thin. Well, I hope they're feeling better soon, so that, because it's the whole household suffers when kids are sick. That is not a good brush. We had a guy today, I thought this was kind of funny. We had a guy today join the Discord server, and in less than 2 minutes, he left the server. Like, well, what? How do you leave so fast? How do you even get into a server and find out you don't like it? Like, we don't have anything offensive. There isn't anything in the server. It's like, oh, here's this, channel where it's not safe for work or anything. We don't have anything. We don't even have like spicy language or nothing. Those are still drying. I can't come back to you guys. About you. Yeah, you're still drying too. Yeah, I was just... Because there was someone who had downloaded the rule book and the primer and a couple of other, 2 of the short stories. I was like, okay, cool. It was like right after I made that post on Facebook. It's like, all right, maybe this is a new person, right? They got introduced to things from my post or just enough to get their attention, and they're checking things out. And then they just left. Oh, I guess they didn't like it here. I don't know what they saw that made them like, I'm out. It could have been. Especially because I did make my post, was kind of referencing the drama going on. It didn't lay it out directly, but those in the know about 40K. But it, 40K kind of kicked off their own firestorm thing yesterday. So that's cool. They can always come back. Yeah, that was actually cool. He had, as I understand it, he was saying he found out about things from the podcast that I made, and I was like, well, that's neat. I know he's not the only one. Pretty sure that's how you found me too, right? If I'm not mistaken. Which is really cool. Hopefully I can get through this fast enough that in the same session we can move on to doing the wash and maybe even getting to do some details. I got to get these guys done as quick as possible for the videos, so dilly-dally around with uber perfection that you're not going to see anyway because they're so tiny. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the podcast he found it from. Which I'm basically going to sit down and write another script for another episode. Well, outline for an episode super soon. I wanted to touch on a couple of topics for people if they're interested. $36 of these little guys to do. Trying to do 6 bases of infantry. yet halfway. We're getting close, though. Slide those ones over. What's up, Crisala? This is a bigger brush than I normally use. Yeah, and the other podcast was fun too, but without Polygon, or well, the CEO now, Jero, it's it'd be kind of a solo endeavor. He's been super busy lately. Yeah, I don't know how many, because the thing is, like, well, how many other people have done something like this, and then how many of them have gotten it off the ground to at least the point where I am, which is, it's not, anybody could kind of catch up. I just have time now on my side. But the overhead equipment will help with doing the videos, so that'll be nice to be able to hopefully make it easier for everyone to kind of understand all the different setup and everything. No, he's been busy. I know a little bit, but I'm not supposed to share. But he's had some stuff going on. He's just had to take care of business stuff, and I think he's still around, still lurking. He's just not active at the moment. I don't doubt he'll cycle back around when he's good and ready. See, if I do a bigger brush, I'm going to do too much paint, and then I'm going to be sad with myself. At least that's my thought. And if I'm sad with myself, that's not good. I'm super happy with how those templates turned out, terrain templates, but I'm happy to be moving on to a new project. Once I get the infantry done, I have an idea for another project I want to do. Mech related. So I have another one that I was thinking of doing that was like a bunch of vehicles to make a really cool image. When I get back to doing scenery images, where it's cinematic kind of feeling instead of just doing product images. Oh. Darn you, airbrush. I feel like a noob with it at this point, even though I've had it for like 3 years. I have to go and watch videos or something. I don't know what I keep doing wrong. Really frustrating. I was very fortunate. I found some that I was able to get a Iwata airbrush a couple years back. I found a collection of stuff that I was able to flip really, really well. And I made a couple $100 off of it. And I think I basically took the entire thing. And I was like, all right, what's like the best airbrush I can get with this money? And I went and did that. And I've been happy with it, but also like frustrated with it because it feels so just prissy. Like it needs to be just right or it's not going to work. And maybe I'm such a noob at it that like that's just airbrushes. That's possible. It is entirely possible that it's my fault. I'd venture to guess it's likely it's my fault, but if I make the paint even looser, right, and even thinner, then it's like painting with water and it doesn't really have like any coverage. But I don't want it to be like a spray paint can either. It's not what I don't know. I just don't want to be doing this on every project when I have an airbrush in the other room. It was the whole flipping point of buying it. I could have put that money somewhere else if it wasn't going to work. Little jerk. Is this going to be the same song? At least it's something different. Goodness gracious. Like it's the same beat over and over. Drive me nuts. Oh. Did the app just close? Or did my stream get dropped? Because that would be unfortunate. Huh. Well, I can't see the chat for the moment. It looks like the YouTube app on my tablet has gone out for some reason. It's not working. Now I gotta see if just YouTube is out. Hey, come on. Where's my channel? Get out of my way. It says I'm live. Turn it down. There we go. Hey, Marcus. Alright. Can everyone still see me? We'll see what's going on. It was as soon as I changed the music, it started getting all weird. But it shouldn't have touched the iPad. That's what's weird. Ooh, goodness. Wow, this is weird. All right, well, thank you, Marcus, for commenting on that. Because, all right, so I'll just not use my tablet then. I'll have to just use my phone for comments. And that's why I try to have multiple devices on standby just in case. Okay, all right. I need to move it over so I can see. Where can I set this? No, not like that. Like this? Okay. Nope. I need a heavier object so it doesn't fall over. There we go. Alright, so it's out of view, but I can still read it, which is what I wanted. Well, welcome, Marcus. Happy to see you here and joining us. My airbrush is acting up, so I am hand priming these infantry. Thankfully, I got them... Well, I'm hand base coating, which is not what I normally do. So, trying to get it done kind of in a rush so that it doesn't take forever. May have to add a little bit more paint to this mix. Yeah, basically hand priming. Which is unfortunate. But it's better to at least make progress than to just be like, I couldn't do anything for the stream. I guess I could work on like modeling or something on the computer, so it wouldn't be nothing. Just I need these guys done for the so I can do the how to play videos for Battlefield. Right, only one more line of them left to get the initial the initial brushing. This is something. I actually, I mean, I have this brush, and then I have this one, and then I have one that's even bigger than this. Must be in the drawer. It's absolutely, it's meant for terrain. It's massive. No, I don't paint details with my airbrush yet. I'm not good enough with it. I do all that by hand, but I do all the base coating. Well, not all of it. I do whatever the primary color is. So like all these guys would be the ochre brown if my airbrush was cooperating. And maybe it was cooperating, it was user error, but either way, at the end of the day, here I am doing it by hand. I'm pretty sure the paint was what sabotaged me, but it be what it be. Oh, people that only use one brush for everything, and I caught myself painting minis all with the same brush. There's nothing wrong with it. If you can do it and you're happy with the results, like, do it. I mean, I really have like 2 or 3, if I'm not counting the airbrush. I don't really. I try to do a lot with the same two brushes, really, because you start to get really used to how that brush works, and it's like, okay, so I'm going to use this for this project then, and you kind of stay there. I don't flip back and forth like a golfer would with paintbrushes, like, going through 8 or 9 for a project. I know Woe said he only used, I think he said he only used like one. He's happy with his stuff, so that works. I would say I do have a different one that I use for my washes, just because that brush tip kind of gets bent, and I don't really care about that. So I guess technically it's 3 brushes usually. But so that I don't damage, a nicer detail brush. Ugh. But at least we get to hang out. Like, that's cool. I like that part, even if this is frustrating. For the most part, it's about how much brush control you have. Yes. For the most part, yeah. 100%. This brush gives me a decent amount of coverage with it because it can be a pretty good fine tip, and then it widens out. I'm assuming you meant brush, Marcus. Did everyone have a chance to see the stretch goals I posted the other day? I think Remy had commented on them. I don't know if anyone else had. Some of them have some slightly different values now because I reordered like 2 of them once I actually started making the images for them for the campaign. But for the most, I don't think I changed any. Maybe one of them. There's like 21 stretch goals right now, which is hands down the most we've ever done. And I wanted to put them up because I wanted one to put like, okay, here's some pretty low stretch goals, like 7,000, 9,000, which in itself may not sound low, but when the campaign is only for 5, 7, 9, 10, I think are the first 3. That way there's kind of some earlier victories for stuff and kind of like, okay, now people are going to get these things, and then kind of take it all the way to 70k, which may be totally like just out there. That's not going to happen, but I figure it's worth to just list like what would happen if you got a bunch of money. This is what I'd work on. Oh, hey, whoa. How are you? Oof. Doing new job stuff already because I'm a beast at it. Well, that's good. I think some of these guys are just going to end up getting like enough love is how my approach is going to be, and then I'm going to move on because the wash is going to make certain parts of them a little bit darker anyway, so I'm not going to panic totally. Kind of have to have the mentality of good enough for these guys just so that I can... I don't like that, but just got to move on. I'll be stuck here for a long time. I ended up investing so much time onto those templates, but they look really nice. I guess they kind of needed to because those are much bigger for the camera to see. PowerPoint slides. Learning PowerPoint in high school, which did help because then when I went to college and I had to do some of those same classes. But it did help whenever I did the actual presentations. Oh, is that how it is? Defense contract is going to be PowerPoints. Come on, Shields. Cooperate with me. I don't want to have to do a third coat. You have to. And if I gotta, I gotta. Just don't wanna. So you working on any projects right now, Marcus? How you been, by the way? I haven't seen you very much. Hope everything's been going well for you. I am going to be resuming Invincible. I got power Amazon Prime again yesterday because I'm not always ordering very much from there, so I only kind of use it in waves, pretty much whenever they give me a discount, which worked out yesterday because I was able to order that equipment that I need with a discount for Prime. So it's like, hot dog, that works out. And now I can watch Invincible again because the new season's out. Well, the second half of the season is out. I'm not a PowerPoint either. Yeah, I want to watch Shogun. That is on my list of things to get to. Doing some Team Yankee stuff. Stop getting them sick, Marcus. Why you gotta do that? No, that sucks. I know you were dealing with that around Christmas time. That was really unfortunate. It's not good if it's still happening. Oh, you watch Foundation? What'd you think of it? I'm all caught up. I need to continue reading the books. I read the prelude to Foundation, the very canonically first one in the Foundation series. I finished that, and I started Foundation, but it was so different from the show, which I knew it was, but it was so different from the show. Not that I love every aspect of the show, but I was a bit like, oh, okay, are we going to invest in any of these characters before we just jump ahead? At all? Well, it's doctor's appointment today. See if we can get some kind of help. Well, I hope they can, because you know it's never when it's bad enough you have to take him to the doctor. That sucks. I've never been used for, to my knowledge, for ASMR. I don't really know if it's any good. Considering I can't stand ASMR. I don't think I'm a good candidate. You have to go find somebody who wants to rub their feet on the microphone or something. Ugh. Yeah, and I know Foundation's mostly about math, and I'm okay with that part, but I don't know, I kind of felt we were gonna stick around with somebody for like longer than a sneeze. And like, oh, 2 chapters, alright, we're done with them, they're dead. Hundreds of years ago. What? Oh, okay, bye. I just started to get invested in them, but okay. But to be fair, I have not finished the book yet, so I will reserve judgment. I did finish reading Watchmen, the graphic novel. I found a complete set on sale somewhere locally, and I picked it up. So I read through it all, finished it like a week ago. Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan. I could tell it was pretty well written, but it didn't really think it was that great. Not great enough for what it seems to be considered as. But I'm only one person. Yeah. Stupid characters. Why would I even like remotely care, right? Stupid characters, stupid writing. You should just give me a page of facts. It'd just be faster. That way we can just skip ahead. It's like even less than the cliff notes. Just whatever. Skip it. It's all dumb anyway. Character development. Yeah, but not the social dynamics of the characters, just society. It's androgynous, you know, bodiless self. I still want to finish reading it because it's considered to be one of the greats, so I want to see what it's all about. I want to give it its shake. And at the end of the day, it might not just be for me. That could just be it. It could just be a me problem. That's totally possible. I do not consider myself uberly cultured. This novel that has remarkably well-written character, and he stuck around for at least 2/3 of the book. Yeah, see, and that, I don't know, that seems kind of messed up. Square is here? This is a special time. Wish I had a better project. But it must be done for the videos. The internet demands it. And Kursala, you'll be happy. In the last stream, went the entire time without my head being in the shot. Whole time. So I can do it. It does make my neck feel a little stiff right now. I want to lean forward. The important part is it can be done, though. I have proven it. It may be the only time ever, but I've proven it. I just gotta make sure you don't spill coffee all over yourself. Well, that'll be easy today, because I drank it all. Were you able to take care of all that yesterday? Does your chair smell like chocolate? Like cocoa? Brown washes, they are very effective. See you, Marcus. Have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. The chair is still a bit brown. Oh, it's not normally brown? Oh. Fancy coffee bar. How about that? You should say, like, bean water, and then they'll be like, what? Bean water. Do you have baked bean water? Roasted bean water. I might start some of the bases after this, just to switch it up, not lose my sanity. Chair is supposed to be blue and black. Uh-oh. A lot of leather. Ah. But not the other bean water. Well, if Persala's around at any point, you just have to expect that it's going to eventually boil down to just... But what about bean water? He's trying to evangelize it to really start a whole coffee movement. Well, like, not coffee movement. Coffee, not coffee. I have tried it. Mine that I make is much sweeter, but, like, I didn't hate it. And plus, it's cold. You paint them with bean water? That's... I'm trying not to... My brain's like, hey, yeah, do you want to smell that thought? No, I don't. I don't want to smell it. Stop. Yeah, but smell it anyway. No. I guess these aren't looking awful. Says the guy grumbling because he doesn't want to be doing this. This should have already been done. Airbrush failed me. It's gonna be on probation. Tell you what. Last discussion was a different type of bean butter. Huh? Can of chickpeas. Oh yeah, yeah. Yes, cocoa bean water. He'll tell you all about it. It's effectively what he's drinking. It kind of tasted like chocolate tea. Kind of, sort of. But it worked. If you're into that. Then a fourth, and then a fifth bean water did exist. And so he crafted one bean water to rule them all. What's the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? I don't know. So how about that weather, right? It's so weather outside. It's so much weather. It's like all the weather, right? It's like all the weather's been outside lately. No, he doesn't have to smell it. I could read it just fine. Alright. Need 6 bases. Got it. Ooh, 70 there. That's nice. It's like mid 80s here. Which isn't awful for us. It's not great. It still gets at least cool enough at night, which is so the AC isn't running all night long, so the electric isn't absolutely bananas. Which I prefer it to not be overly high. What is up with this? No. It's just I've switched it to dystopian cyberpunk synthwave mix. Royalty free. Hooray. Wow. It's pretty cold. It's chilly. I think I definitely used too much paint here. Sad face. I have made me sad. I shall use the brush. This is just for bases anyway, so. Is this on the shot? Oh, it is. Okay. I realized I put the image in the bottom left, and it's like that's like where my hand is. So I don't want to be out of the shot. 2 degrees is so cold for me. To come back to that. Must get bases done. 20 is nice and warm. What? Doesn't even make sense. Because inside your house isn't that cold. But I guess to be fair, you couldn't really deal with the heat like I have. So as much as you're like, but it gets hot here too. It's different. It's different kind of heat. Well, I don't know, because being in Michigan, I was watching a video earlier from someone in Montana, and he was talking about they still had a chance for snow, which I'm like, okay. Oh, you spanky monkey. You were talking about Celsius. You're gonna get put in the box. Box with the other naughty people. I'm gonna walk that back. No, stay where I put you, paint. How very dare you. Oh, no, not that one. Once these start drying, then I can put on the mud. Which I use that one, yeah. A little bit of time to dry. That's still, I keep grabbing the wrong one. This is just kind of as a filler in case the paste ends up being a little bit thin anyway. It's not really the be-all end-all here. You see, Chris Hollow, though? This doesn't hit my microphone anymore. It's been perfectly fine. It's worked better than it ever did. Enough of that. Nope. And a little bit more of that. Now enough of that. I hope. Rest back. Back in your home. Well, no, it's definitely physically broken. But I mean, not at the important part, just at the lower part. Kind of like if you were like a crime boss and you're like, I need to get a message across, but I need his hands to work. We could start at his legs. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. Yeah. And in this case, this paintbrush didn't need its excessively long other end. And I leave it that way so that all the other paintbrushes know what I'm capable of if they keep hitting the microphone. That's what'll happen to them. Ow. Alright. They're gonna need a third coat. I hate that. Ugh. It stinks. Well, no head. You can have the arm, maybe. Let's see if this stuff has dried out. Please, no. Hey, it looks good. Sweet. So then I can... Yeah. Spread some here. Get these started. Exactly. Don't mess with me, paintbrush. I've been places. I've seen things you can't imagine. Oh no, I hit the mic with this. No. Nah. I don't think it's a paddling. I think you're just looking for excuses. I'm gonna take my time instead of trying to blast through it and then being disappointed that I have to now take more time to fix it. Do it once, make me happy. Do it twice, me no happy. You know, as the classic saying goes. Everyone says that, right? Oh. I fixed it. Alright, Crisol, have a good one. Enjoy your bus. Is this in focus? No, it's not. Why isn't it in focus? I need to fix my camera after the stream. For some reason, it's being obstinate. It's fighting me. Thought it was set to auto focus, but it's not. That way over there, so we can drop it. Something tells me I don't think he will. Oh, it's too much. It's when mistakes happen. I guess after I apply this texture paste, should... I guess I could paint the other bases real quick, because it won't take very long. Move back to the infantry after that. Exciting. Watch WoW. No, I got extra on my finger. Yeah, sure. You said you were thinking about another podcast. What were some of the points you wanted to discuss? One was going to be a different type of mindset. I wanted to check the other episodes and make sure I didn't totally cover it, although it's going to be different now because I'm a little bit more experienced. You know, it's been a while since the podcast started, where I was thinking about talking about not quite burnout, but something similar in that sort of vein. There's some stuff there I've been kind of working through, so I have some points that could be made for maybe to help some other creators. And then I wanted to could make one about some, at least my views on mechanics and taking mechanics that you found interesting from other games and using those, and kind of the, I don't know if that'll be a full episode in itself. It needs something else with it, but you know, and like you don't have to come up with the entire game yourself effectively. Like you can use some other things to help get you inspiration to get going. You just don't want to outright copy, because nobody wants to be that guy. I could do that. So a review and you're writing. In what way? Oh. I almost really made a big problem. I tried to set the base down and got stuck to my finger. Alright. Paste stuff is done for now. Well, it's not necessarily about just being legal, though. It's also about the ethics and morality of it, and what happens if you do use someone else's starting point and then someone accuses you of, oh, you just copied it outright. Which somebody will probably do eventually. At least they probably will to me, just because I've been accused of copying mech designs and other things that are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Never even seen that thing, or I wasn't even thinking of that. If it resembles anything, it's because I must have had a similar thought to the guy who made the other one. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint these so they can fully dry. Well, yeah, and that would be part of the conversation. Is you can't probably come up with an entirely original mechanic without isolating yourself so much that you're then not being exposed to other people's mechanics. And like in that case, yeah, you might be able to come up with something on your own, but that doesn't change people from saying, oh, you copied XYZ. Because they did not isolate themselves, so they saw other games. And while you can come up with some mechanics on your own, I don't know if the main goal, unless you're a really creative person, so I don't want to say like absolutely not, but unless you're like an insanely creative person, you're probably not going to create something. Like the goal of making an entirely original game with all mechanics being different is almost impossible, just based on like movement characteristics alone. Or are you like not going to use dice? Well, somebody else came up with dice way before you. Even just using cards. Well, there's other games that use cards to resolve things. So you didn't come up with that. I don't think this brush is going to be long for this world. It's not holding out so good. I've actually even started to look into other games when I hadn't really done that before to get inspiration, because sometimes you can play something, you're like, this is an interesting game, whether or not you like it, and you're like, but I would do it this way instead, or I would have done this, or what if it didn't, what if we eliminated that mechanic, or we flipped it over on its head and we did something different. And I'm kind of seeing a big value in that investment in time of experiencing other people's games to kind of have a jumping off point, which I used before, but I guess it feels, I think I'm approaching a very creative time where my brain wants to come up with new things, so it wants to be exposed to other ideas so that I can come up with something else. Which is a fun time, because it's nice to be able to kind of hit a creative place again. I've been kind of in a little bit of a, I don't want to say a drought, but it was a dry spell of sorts. Did you see, whoa, that they've moved Adepticon? Did you see the announcement? I don't know if Woe's still here. Adepticon said that last year, I think they said their attendance this past year, you know what I mean, in March, that their attendance for this last time had gone up 20% from the previous year, and that they outgrew the convention center that they were at, so now they're actually moving cities entirely. And now they're going to be going to Milwaukee instead of staying in Chicago. So I guess as of next year, that's where they'll be. So it worked out for Woe because of him changing locations anyway for his new job, that he won't be. But I know he probably would have flown back or driven back for it. Guess we'll try one more quick coat, see if it'll help these guys get to a place where they can be ready to be hit with a wash. All that paste stuff on my fingers. Alright. Let's pull these guys all together. Start out with the lone guy. Just really trying to aim for problem areas and then just move the heck on. I don't know why Milwaukee. It probably had to do with the price of the convention center. They're making it sound like this new one's going to be really big. But I felt like that was a strange location considering they were in Chicago, which is a major U.S. city that, like, you know, people even outside the country probably have some sort of idea about. But I would assume, I don't know, I've never flown to Milwaukee. I would assume that the flights to to Chicago were easier to get a hold of than out in Milwaukee. So I don't really know who made that call, but it's interesting. It's great to hear that it grew, though, because hopefully it indicates that the industry is doing well, because it's more people with that sort of income to go spend. I did not go. I would like to eventually get to. We just need to win over some of those people with the big bucks to support Revelations. Whoa. Hopefully that group is finally done. Looking forward to getting to a paint pirate mechs again. Need to do some pirate tanks too. That's right, I got the Phobos, the Deimos. They don't even. But there's also the Jupiter's never been painted before. Still got all my castaways to do outside of Old Reliable. I have some primed Zide's Rough Riders. Need to go and resume. Heck, I need to go back and update all the Blood Wolves. I have so much painting to do. So much. But I suppose that's a good problem to have, rather than I have nothing to paint, because everything's done. Even though technically I can never be done, there's always some new detachment to paint for, or new model coming out, or something. Keep at it. You know when you hit that wall when you're doing something, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore? Painting these guys 3 times because my airbrush didn't work right is not my idea of a good time. They'll look great for the video, which is what matters. Gotta focus on the why I'm doing it. Careful with putting too much on yourself. Battletech had a tentative 3-year list of releases. Yeah, well, and in the short term, I have a lot of pressure on myself because we need to keep things moving so that I can continue to do this full time. So there's that other wall of we have to make the budget so that I can keep doing this like this. If there was a period of time in my life where I was disappointed in my professional output, it would be the last couple of months. I have not done things the way that I wanted them to be done, and trying to rectify that now. God willing, I'll have more opportunity to keep doing it. I really missed this guy. Jeez. Here's all your paint, sir. Allow me to help you out. Some much needed coverage. Two rows left. Guess this third coat really was necessary. Sometimes I think my superpower is putting my foot in my mouth and doing So when I finally do the thing that I've been putting off because I didn't want to do it, is the thing that sometimes really makes a huge difference. What is that? That is a tiny hair. That is not supposed to be on my model. Do not ask for hairy models. Sometimes words are hard. Alright, so let's go back and look at the guy that already had 3 coats. I think that's good enough, because he's going to get the wash on him. I could sit there and touch them up like all day long. Weird sentence. But it wouldn't really change 100%. To give them time to fully set. Whoops. Guess I should look at these before these fully dry too. Pretty good. I think I see a couple spots that could use a slight touch up. It's okay. No need to clean that, but I can do that once I'm... maybe I should do it now. Let's clean these out. That way when I paint them, they'll look appropriate rather than all sorts of ugly. Still needs to be painted. This one got a little messy. Come on. I did not want to have to shave every single one of these, but from experience, when I go to base the models, they may not be thrilled with the way I did it. Then I have to cut it once it's all painted, and then that's not fun, because then you have to fix it. Oops. All right. These. Oh, that one didn't need to be. Do these ones need to be touched up though? I think there's a couple of spots that would be better off if I did. Move this out of the way so I don't spill it. Just a little tiny bit. Right here on the edge. Oh, wait. Oh, right there. Okay. Alright. Turn that off now. Where is my brown wash? Guess we can use this. So my wash brush is not here. Where is my wash brush? Hate when my wash brush wanders off. Where did it go? Well, we're gonna try this one out and see how this one does. Anything you're looking forward to with the Core Public Union? Well, yeah. I mean, I've been putting a lot of focus, obviously, on the Kickstarter, right? So there's been a lot of my attention on that, but there's projects that I put in there for them that I'm excited for, like the VTOLs, if we can get up to that, the field manual, which would be fun because I've wanted to do the field manuals. My concern had been they're going to be expensive to do. So by putting them as a stretch goal, then I can set aside budget where it's like, okay, this budget is for this field manual. I don't have to feel like I'm pulling away from something else. Because that's kind of how I feel at the moment, where, you know, you have all these other projects and you're like, okay, well, I only have so much funding to spend. And so now we can only pick projects that can be funded with X, whatever, which is fine, but when it's less because there's less funds, right? But I've wanted to do a field manual for a while. I think that'll be something that a lot of people that are used to, whether it'll be called a field manual or not by the time it's done. I actually have a different working name, but I didn't want to use it because I didn't think people would get it for the stretch goals. Like, I had to pick something that people were kind of like familiar with, like, oh, okay, that's what you're going to do. But it'll still cover kind of the field manual stuff. Maybe sourcebook. Maybe sourcebook would have been maybe that would have been a better title to go with for people to get what it's going to be. But the source books would be a lot of fun to do. As far as like models, I'd really like to be able to do a new Juggernaut variant. I'm obviously a big fan of the Juggernaut because that was such a precious project to me at the time. It was almost a passion project in itself. And then I kind of mentioned earlier about doing not really full-on diorama, but, you know, an artistic approach to why I'm painting certain things for the types of images that'll be used for. So I was kind of considering putting together diorama pieces where the model can come off the base or off of the diorama, and it can be a playable piece. And so I was messing around with this idea to do with a Juggernaut, which I had considered doing that as the stream today was just me modeling that. But I wasn't sure the painting has to get done right now. That is something my creativity wants to run to, but it's not really like time to do that yet. Having to use others terms can be annoying, like technical readout or codex. Yeah, for people to get it. It's not so bad. I have an idea for a series name where it's basically that, and I've wanted to get to that. Like I was saying, I know people have asked me like, "Hey, do you have a technical readout? Hey, do you have this like a field manual kind of thing or something?" And I've wanting to finally provide. Ooh, knocking them over. I'm wanting to finally provide that. Well, I guess I've wanted to for a while. I want to make it a priority to get it in there. So that's why I rearranged the pricing. So now the Core Republic Field Manual Sourcebook project would be at $35K instead of like at 50 or 60 when I posted it on Discord. I felt, well, if we can get that kind of money, I should be able to do it with all the other projects in line. Because I was trying to choose stretch goals that Kursala and I could do ourselves predominantly, to avoid whatever kind of other complications that we may run into. We've had issues, but we really just need a bigger budget, and I think it would end up being better for some of that part anyway. So I was mostly seeing if you had any lore progression or further in-depth look. I mean, yeah, I have some, but I guess my house guests are here early, so I need to wrap up the stream. So thank you very much, Remy, for being here, and for anyone else who's watching. I see there's a couple people that have been lurking. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for a little while. It wasn't the most crazy, exciting stream, but they can't all be. Made some good progress on these guys, so thank you guys for being here. I'll talk to you again on Thursday, if you guys are able. Same general time. And get back at it with some project. I'm not sure what'll be still left to do at that point, but we'll see. All right. Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later.